So, as we've been working our way through the different categories, as well as the different Brahma Viharas, with the 4 Brahma Viharas, practices of the heart, we started with metta, loving kindness. We worked through the categories, all the categories with that. And then we moved to the second Brahma Vihara, heavenly abode practice, which is compassion. Then we went through all the concentric circles through that, starting with our easy person, ourselves, etc., moving to all beings. Then we switched to mudita, empathetic joy, and we've been playing around with different categories in empathetic joy, and we stayed with empathetic joy for a good long while, which was fun, awakening joy. And the fourth Brahma Vihara is equanimity, upekkha. And sometimes we think of upekkha as, oh, very cool, detached, but that's actually the near enemy of equanimity. That's not equanimity. Equanimity is in the same family as loving kindness and vicarious joy and compassion. So that should give us a signal. Oh, equanimity has warmth to it, has care to it. It's not like, oh, I'm just equanimous, I don't care. Um, but it's a sense of equipoise, holding whatever is arising, challenges, goodness, holding it all with balance, with care, not diving into it, not overwhelmed, not into it, diving into, and not pulling away, not turning away from it. Equipoise, equanimity, stays with whatever is arising, whether it's joy, so that it doesn't become exuberance, there's a sense of balance, or with compassion, so that it doesn't become empathic distress, pain, on top of our own pain or someone else's pain. Equipoise stays balanced. So it's a practice in and of itself, as we will practice tonight. And it's the platform, it's the stability. If you consider, for example, a Buddha image or Buddha statue or a statue of Kuan Yin, compassionate image, they're always on a platform of stability. So if you think of yourself as this embodiment here, let's start. Feel yourself as an embodiment of goodness, compassion, care. You sit on a platform, a stable platform, one that's not wobbly, one that's stable and supports you. And that platform of stability, that foundation, however the image works for you, is one of equanimity. It allows you to engage with all the other Brahma Viharas from a place of balance, as well as relate to anything in the world from a place of balance. So I like to sing the praises of equanimity because we've been bringing equanimity in without really advertising it so much into all of our practices so far with all the other Brahma Viharas. And another thing to say, equanimity is the crown jewel of Buddhist practice, is really the crown jewel. So it's not detached at all. It cares. It's engaged with the world. It's a part of the family of the heavenly abodes, together with, as I mentioned, with metta and compassion and vicarious joy. And it supports them all. And it supports us to have a stable, expansive heart, not to be washed over or caught up. And if we do get caught up or washed over, being able to stand up again. So praise of equanimity practice. So the place we start this equanimity practice traditionally is where it's easiest. And it is said the easiest category is the neutral person. Makes sense, right? Neutral person, there is kind of a balance. It's not your difficult person, so you don't have antipathy towards them. It's not your dear person, so you don't love them. It's like, oh, there's some neutrality, right? You can both feel their pain and their happiness, but there's sense of neutrality. So traditionally, it is said this is the easiest place to start. It may not be the easiest place for us or give, but let's start there. Let's see canonical teachings work for us in terms of starting where it's easy. Yeah. Oh, I guess I'll say one last thing. Uh, the near enemy of it, as I mentioned, is aloofness, is detachment, is kind of like, oh, I don't care. It's all okay. Um, and of course, the far enemy, the opposite, is when you get really entangled, like, or either you get really jump into it, you get entangled, you get attached, or you completely turn away. So aloofness is a little cool. So anyway, you'll discover the far and near enemies for yourselves because they might come up. They probably will. It's part of learning this practice. It's not that we completely avoid these ends. It's just that they will come up. We recognize them and we learn how to relate to them and ourselves.